Hello, already guys. Welcome back to another session of backtesting, where I'm going to be backtesting another half month's worth of data. This is episode number 13 of our backtesting streams, where we are going from 2022 all the way up until 2026 in one single stretch. If you guys are interested in checking out the rest of these videos, this entire process is going to be recorded and posted on my YouTube. With that being said, let's go and drop in on the current stats. So currently trading at a 52% win rate. Not the best. Yes, I know, whatever. And that's over the course of these months here. The last month that we did was August, came out with 6% or 6R, and we're just going to finish up the month of August within this session. So let's do this. Go to, wait, hold on. I was doing hindsight, so I want to be sure. Okay, save that it's not at 9:30, or it's still at 9:30. Cool. So one thing that I'm finding as well, just because if I'm gonna be looking at intraday profiles, I can look on the fucking 7 hour. I'm liking the 7 hour. I'm not gonna front there. And that's just from AM's teachings, how he goes and draws out weekly profiles or daily profiles and stuff. So what we can take notice of is this is a Friday weekly profile of it. It's telling me that we do have that Monday open, high, low, close. Friday is very expansive down to the low end. I could possibly trade back up higher going from all of these lows. Yeah, we're definitely trading. Yeah, definitely trading higher here, as there is SMT break type logic. There is SMT here. So that is showing me that there is a possibility that YM is obviously the strongest asset. We have this accumulation with all of these failures above, and then we are sweeping this out there. Daily profile does have that open low profile where we do have all of this low resistance above, going for the accumulation, manipulating into this point of interest, SMT, and then we want to see it continue up to the upside here. We are all impacting a relevant level as well with all of that low resistance above, and we can take notice that the 4 hour time frame, we do have a sweeping of this level inside of a relevant interest with the daily candle opening low with no wick on the top end of it. So my draw on liquidity is for all of this low resistance liquidity there, as we do have that open low profile within that daily candle. 6 a.m. is reversing already. We do have a C2 that is formulating the bottom of the 6, and we are expanding away from the C2 as YM is already expanding. So with YM expanding like this, as it is the stronger asset as well, I would like to try to focus my energy into YM versus NQ, as NQ is more so consolidating and YM is a lot more bullish, where the what is that called? Structure is a lot more bullish here, right? So in order to get on side with this, I would like to see this 15-minute gap hold price up to the upside. And then this would be your entry, right? Literally just like that. And then we can take notice NQ is kind of correlated as well. YM is holding us very much more bullish. And you would just long this up to those highs. Realistically, I mean, honestly, you're not going for the full fucking 2.5, right? You're just going for daily's opening price, because that is your... Oh shit, looks like we're getting stopped. Damn, so we got stopped out there. Looking like we are actually bearish here. Damn, that was actually crazy. Did I fuck that up? No, I didn't, because that's your tap into it and then continuation signature. So it looks like we're actually extremely bearish. NQ is falling. YM should be able to catch up with NQ, as phases in price has already supports it. So I'm going to enter here on YM as that lagging asset, as NQ is already falling, so we can catch up utilizing YM. So I was wrong on this entry. Tapped in there. And then now my short is basically to these lows here, as you're drawing liquidity. And then that would be your stops to break even. And you can hold this for 2R. Then we can stop that at break even. So I was wrong on my draw being higher as a daily open, low, high close. Obviously. and we was actually just gonna go and continue to the next draw on liquidity, which is this low. Yeah, so we just wanted to be actually bearish here. So I was wrong on that. Should have just fuck, I don't know. I personally cannot trade away from all of that, right? Especially after tapping us into a relative level with a daily candle open, low, high, close, with no high day set with anything of true significancy. Personally, not my style of trading, right? This trading away from all of this in a bullish order flowing market, right? And then tapping us into this with a daily profile of open low into this and then reversing price as well already. I think that that's a good trade. Yeah. But unfortunately, we just went and took a shit, so that's fine, you know. It'd be like that sometimes. So now we can see that we do have a full reversal going on right now. Draws is going to be considered all of these lows down there. The weakest asset higher time frame is going to be considered NQ, as it is the closest down to these low levels. So with it being that close down to these levels here, I can take notice that that's where we're going. YM is a lot higher in the range. The most immediate draw on liquidity is going to be considered that level there. The daily profile kind of cooked as we did expand away in Asia, but it's fine because we open up these 4-hour gaps soon. I would more so want to see that different phase in price because we have already expanded prior to this driver. I'd like to see the different phase in price go and manipulate out higher first. Once you get that manipulation higher, that's when I can start to look for shorts. But I cannot look for shorts while we are within this accumulation range, as I cannot trade away from those highs here unless we go and expand away from here. So we do sweep out these levels now. With the sweeping of these levels here, we can see that NQ and YM is really failing to manipulate. I'm not going to trade YM, as YM is stronger, higher time frame. I do want to take notice that there is a possibility that we do have a failure to manipulate here. With this failure to manipulate here, I can't short this. Reasons why I can't short this is we are back at the bottom of the entire expansion leg. I'd more so want to trade down to the low, not at the low. So I'm going to wait for a new 15-minute model in order for me to get on side with this. I need to see some form of sweep on the top side in order to get on side with this, right? And from there really wouldn't be any sweep and it would just dump. I'm personally not a huge fan of trading this at the lowest points. Not my forte. Even if it gives me this continuation signature, this could easily just be your accumulation low back up to these highs that's located above me, which I don't want to trade away from. I wanted to see what I was originally looking for was for market to do this, right? So I can catch this action here, entry here, and then we catch it lower, but that didn't happen as it just became highs that's located like that, which is fine, you know. So taking a look here, there would just be no trade there for me, right? So taking a look here, as you can tell, daily profile more so in an accumulation as Asia and London has accumulated. This is looking a lot more like a just accumulation type candle. So that's like within my, that's what happens after massive expansion and we do tap us into some levels already, or just even after massive expansion, accumulation, right? So with this accumulation here, I honestly would not want to touch this, as it's most likely just gonna fucking stay right here. I'm not even gonna go and attempt to. Okay, so if we sweep out this high here, there is a possibility now for me to go down lower, but we needed to sweep out these highs actually first in order for me to go and frame lower. So I'd like to see us reject off of this high just the way it is as well, and we do set this SMT that's located like this, and now there is a possibility that we can trade lower here. So there we are heading up higher. See if we can get a nice 15. So this is a nice 15-minute swing like that. That's setting the high of that 10 a.m. candle with the 15-minute C2 V-shape reversal, 15-minute CISD here. So there's a ICISD. The problem with this trade is I don't really have a CISD here on NQ, so I don't know if it's actually truly ready. Now we can see that we do have an OB creation here on NQ, so that is hints. I'm going to enter this as a form of positional. as this gap is already getting respected. I'm going to put my stops to that last 15-minute high in order for me to trade back down to the lowest points of days, as we do have that OB creation, and on ES we do have an OB creation. We do have a new OB creation as well, and that's trading a 15-minute C3 into a 15-minute C2 SMT C2, as it's like this, and then trading that C3 into expansion, as the C3 has done an open high low close on that 15-minute time frame for me to go and trade lower here, right? And my stops to break even will be at the lowest point a day, as that is my draw on liquidity. And then that would be your 2R there, right? So that was basically showing me that the SMT direction pointed me in the downwards here. That's showing me that NQ or YM is weaker. NQ now it's showing me that it was reversing with this OB creation. And what this OB creation is as well is what that ICISD, the 1030 open high into this gap. You have a 30-minute C2 forming the high, which is a SMT and a PSP. So two stages of divergence forming the highest point of the day. SMT, PSP, weaker asset, weaker PSP. And then you do have your 3-minute CISD that's located here, and then you do have that 30-minute open high low close, as 1030 does open up high into that 3-minute gap. And now you're trading that you're just trading that ICISD there. I entered a little bit earlier and I utilized that 15-minute high from that first 15-minute candles closure, as we should not be disrespecting that 15-minute high, and the 15-minute high should stay intact already. So that's what I utilized for my stop loss. But obviously you could have went here as your 30-minute ICISD and then you enter there for 2R. See if you get it. Looks like you might have got stopped out of break even, or maybe not. Might have made it. Nah, you would have got stopped out of break even. Well, nonetheless, that's how the trade would have went, right? So with that being said, moving on to the next. So taking a look here, daily time frame, you can see that we kind of did hit that accumulation day. So we're not really aiming for the biggest targets when it is like after massive expansions, right? Because you can get that tighter range day, as you did see. With that tighter range day there, we do have a more expansive day within that YM candle, as YM is looking like it wants to catch up to with where NQ is, as NQ has tapped us into this level here. With that level being impacted, or I guess you could say that was your strength switch, right? As you can tell, this 10 a.m. candle was setting the high of this 6 a.m. wick here, and then now that was showing you what a strength switch is in between these sections like that, and that's why YM did fall faster, as it was showing it that was once the stronger asset was not becoming the weaker one. We are within this consolidation here, and they have equal lows that's located below. Asset is making a move upwards right now. I do want to take notice that this is where I would like to see price go down to the downside. Daily profile in general, not really setting a low of anything with true significance here on NQ. We are pushing upwards here. I do want to just like focus on which asset is the most bearish in order to get us down to the downside. But we do have that 6 a.m. high that's already there. 1 hour C2, fucking very nice to push here. Push down to these lows, kind of open low, push up high, and we are expanding away. Now I would just genuinely just want to see, okay, so we got like a 30-minute CISD that's located on YM. So it's just our NQ. I just want to see these gaps now hold price up to the upside. I don't want to enter anything here. Why? Because YM or NQ is, or YM is tapping into a very relative level. So I would need to see a failure to manipulate before jumping in on this. And as you can tell, if you was to enter here, you're entering at a relevant level, right? And that's why you would get stopped out. You don't want that. You don't want to do that. So we would just wait here to see what it's doing. More so waiting to see if we can get that push. So here's your accumulation. Here's a manipulation. Looking for that push downwards. NQ more so accumulating here. This would be like your 10 a.m. opening up high. Looking like we are going to probably go up to these highs to take a manipulation off of these highs here. Just basing it off of its structure. So this is actually a very nice setup. So you do have that SMT between these high formations there, and you do have that 15-minute OB already in creation. You do have that V-shape reversal, and that's also your 10 a.m. open high low. I'm going to put my stops here at that 10 a.m. high, as we can take notice that NQ, CISDs, ES, CISDs, and we do have those open draws. YM higher time frame is weaker currently, and NQ is just kind of consolidating within this consolidation range. ES looking just as good to go short as well. I'm going to enter here on that 10 a.m. open high low close. So 10 a.m. open high low close does fail there. Doesn't look like a good entry. I was going off of this 15-minute OB. That fucking 10 a.m. open high low close does fail. We end up sweeping out these highs again. I'm going to look for a new 15-minute model off of these highs and see if we can get it down short again. So here would be your new 15-minute model off of these highs located like that. I'd wait for the full 15-minute closure to go and trade that 15-minute C3. Now this would be your 15-minute CISD or 3-minute CISD, looking for that 15-minute ICISD, and it's never given to us, and then that would be the ending of the day. So we would just get chopped up right there, and we would end the day red. Right, and that's just fucking consolidation after that, right? You don't want to trade anything, and it's just wrong bias, wrong consolidation. You're trading away from all of this low resistance. Not exactly my style, so that would just basically be it right there. Again, now we do take notice of our daily candle does open up high, sweeps out these relative high that's located here, and now we'd want to go for what all of this low resistance. The high of day is set within London. We are expanding away from London with a 2 a.m. reversal, and we already have that V-shape reversal here. You could enter on a 1-hour time frame. I don't, so I'm gonna have to wait for a 3-minute OB, which it looks like it might just straight up fall. I'm not gonna lie there. Okay. So here would be your push up higher. Looking for a 15-minute swing in order to trade down lower. I'm not bullish whatsoever, bro. There's no fucking way we're bullish here. Right? Here would be your sweeping off of this level, which is gonna leave an SMT high. Sweeping off of a relative level, SMT high, 15-minute C2, CISD. Ooh, I don't like that wick here. I need a stronger closure. Yeah, there's your stronger closure. Stops can go to this OB's high, like that. All assets are aligned to be bearish now. SMT direction shows me direction. And we can rip this downwards. Obviously, I'm not going to shoot for 6R. I'll take it off right here. Sorry, my man. 2.6. Right, but then your true target would be this 4R play right there. That would be for like full TP. Is for 4R. Or you can just 3R it, be a normal ass person, or 2R it, right? 2R is what we're statically taking right now, so you would have reached 2R within like right there. And basically what this is you're sweeping of a relative level, SMT, 15-minute swing, low resistance liquidity, range high, going down to range low, right? And that's all you're really trying to do here. And your basic logic of this is just staying on that 15-minute time frame and waiting for that 15-minute pull back into the range, and you want to see one of these points of interest hold price down to the downside, right? One thing as well, what I took notice just from that last loss is no gaps. There was no gaps on that last loss. So we was kind of within that consolidation range already. So that's something that I do want to take notice of, is just the lack in gaps equals the lack in direction, and the lack in just valid structure and shit like that, right? So with that being said, I'm going to be more so chilling. We do have that pushback. I'm looking for more internal, external. I'm not really trying to, I mean, I guess you could say if we're going to expand away from these lows already, then we could possibly be just being bullish here. But it does look like an Asia accumulation, London accumulation, and looking like we are setting that high of day currently. And I could trade down lower. That's basically what I'm reading, is that's setting a high a day within the 6 a.m. candle. This is more so of an accumulation daily, and then we want to go and push back downwards, setting that high with that C2. And then I want to see like a reversal off of this. If 930 reverses price like the way it is, so C2, and then wanting to push down lower, then that should be able to continue us down lower, as there is a V shape away from it already. With this all being said, I do want to take notice when this relevant level is impacted, because that can send us in a different phase in price, and I would like to see the reaction that happens off of that, if we're going to continue lower or we're going to fucking shoot. What is that called? Honestly, you could take this fucking trade if we get a counter closure beneath that. Like this. And you could take it down to those lows, because this is your draw for now. And then you could just hold it for 2R to see if you would get it. Right? And then that would be your 2R. And now you would just focus on seeing if, what is that called? You would just focus to see if you would be able to. That was a really good 2R. Fucking not even gonna lie about that. I'm over here like nonchalanting it and being like, oh fuck, that was a really good 2R. Not even like that was a good 2R. Zoom out. That's why you would go break even, right? V-shape reversal off of this level, which is showing very strong draw to go upwards. And if the driver is going to reverse price and we're going to set this low here, we can go and actually travel up higher, as this is going to be considered your draw and liquidity. Now, driver is really showing us that it wants to go up higher, and we're setting that low. The driver is reversing price. We're no longer going lower, right? So you could take this, stops at that 10 a.m. low, for us to rip up to that next draw on liquidity that's located above that, and you can go stops or break even as soon as you cross the highest point of the day, or not. Fuck. Well, fucking yeah, that's that. Whatever. See if we can get like a 15-minute C2. Okay. Well, it looks like we are actually going down to those lows here, which was valid. Which is exactly what we wanted to see. The chances of you getting a 15-minute pullback within that leg is damn near impossible. Well, that's your push up accumulation, whatever. I already got my 2R out of it, so I'm cool with it. And yeah, that's basically what it was, right? It was just utilizing this reversal happening prior to the driver, and then the driver going and confirming it. 930 not going higher, and we are going lower. Stops goes to the OB. My stops goes break even as soon as I cross this, and then we just take it off at 2R like that. And then I guess you could say my thing was wrong, right? I was definitely wrong on where we were going. I thought we were gonna rip upwards, but honestly, I wouldn't just enter like that. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's basically that right there. Why are we bearish as well? Just overall this. This is what I was trying to target the whole time, right? But it just wasn't happening. So that's fine. So taking a look here, daily time frame. Very bearish expansion candle on the previous day. So that is something that I am aware of. Very, very expansion weeklies. This is going into a Monday. Yeah, this is a Monday. Honestly, with it being this tight of a range on a Monday, I am recognizing that it is just an accumulation, and I don't think we're going anywhere. I don't think we're going anywhere in specific. Fuck, I really. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, I don't think we're going anywhere specifically. I think we're just gonna accumulate right here, just because expansion has occurred already. And that was in Friday. After expansion, what can we anticipate? A different phase in price. So this is where I would actually anticipate for us to have that different phase in price. I'm a lot less telling myself that we're going to be bullish though, and I'm more so wanting to see if we can hit that continuation, as we do have all of that low resistance liquidity that is built up below us. Are we just going to go and build up more liquidity though for us to go and continue higher, or are we going to just, like, that's one thing, is like, are we going to actually continue? Okay, it does look like it has some pressure here, as there is like a 15-minute C2. We do have these failure swings that is like this, but it is SMT'd. If NQ starts to reverse price here, then there is a possibility for me to actually trade down lower on YM, as there is a CISD all happening at the exact same time. I'm gonna wait more so for the 10 a.m. opening price to see what 10 a.m. does give, because I'm not super confident in this SMT, just because we are within that tighter range right now, right? So with us being within this tighter range, again, this just goes back to my last loss that literally just happened. When there's just no gaps and we're within a tighter range, it just could be shittier price action, right? As you can tell, NQ is really failing to manipulate out this high. So with NQ really failing to manipulate out this high, this is actually very good for bullish standards, and we can actually trade the lagging asset, which is going to be considered YM, up to the upside for us to go and break that. But it's, yeah, this is just fucking chop. Not gonna lie to you there. Not entirely sure if I want to trade this. Just the no gaps equals, that was my last loss, was no gaps, tight range, fucking look like this as a barcode. I don't really want to trade anything like this because there's no true direction, right? And then you're just going to get chopped up. Why is it chopping up right here as well in this small little range? Is because, again, what happened in the previous day? Massive expansion. What happens after expansion? A different phase in price. What phase in price are we getting? An accumulation. What is an accumulation? A continuation signature. How do we want to trade a accumulation? By manipulation. Do I want to trade it today on a Monday after we already expand? No. It looks like a lower volatility day where we are going to just chop up right here, and it's not worth my time, effort, or money. With that being said, we would let that walk, right? And we just wait for something better. And what would that better be? A daily gap, internal, external, getting tapped into right now. We do have that previous day being an accumulation because of that expansion. How do we leave an accumulation, manipulation into that internal range liquidity? Daily candle does have an open high profile with all of this, a low resistance that's located below. We do have that manipulation out of this high. London looking like the high of day currently. So with that London looking like the high of day, we can take notice that the 6 a.m. candle is already expanding away. We do not have SMT within those highs as well. So I'm taking a look here. We are kind of expanding away from the high of day. How can we tell that there's expansion away from the high of day? Is these gaps that is formed away from the current high of day, and I'm thinking it is. And I'd like to see these gaps actually respect price down to the downside. We do have SMT fill, as now we can take notice that NQ is tapping us within this gap and YM is no longer. YM, however, is tapping us into a very relative level. So in order to trade lower now, I do want to go and do a failure to manipulate type stature, where I can take notice of us doing that 3-minute CISD through it, right? So right now, I'm not liking any stop loss here, and there's no stop loss placement that I do enjoy. There is a possibility for us to trade lower on NQ, however, as NQ does have this accumulation, the manipulation into this gap, and the gap is showing you strength to the downside. I just don't like this long wick, so I'm going to wait for one more candle's closure, and I can actually enter just like this. I don't like the long wick, but there is still a fuller body, so there is reasonings for me to go down to the downside now. And yeah, so with that being said, I can trade down to all of this low resistance liquidity and this a little bit lower, as that 30-minute gap is proving that it is getting held right now. So we should be able to expand. Now that we crossed this level here, I can go stops to break even, and then we just hold for 2R, right? And then you would go down to the next levels as well. And then that would be our next levels as well. Targeting what? All of this failure swings, accumulation, manipulation, push back, opening up of gaps, respecting that gap, and in the CISD from that gap to target this in alignment with a daily open high, low, close, right? And this is like your fucking Godzilla breathing fire. And that's his leg. And then fucking roar. And that's the Godzilla fucking technique. Right? You see it? That's fucking crazy. I see it. I don't know about you guys, but I can fucking see it. Right? Cool. Away from that, that's basically it. So all this was seeing that there was a reversal happening prior to the driver. We do have this accumulation. I don't really like the way that these high, so I wouldn't be able to jump in on it. And then we did sweep out this level here, so it's like jumping in on YM around this area. I'm not entirely sure of a protected level, so I chose NQY because we had a very like defined protected level, which was that 30-minute gap that was located to the left of us, right? And with that protected level, we do have a defined CISD. Did I trust this first CISD here? No. Why? Because it's kind of like an accumulation candle, no true direction here. And then we do have that stronger closure here. Yes, there's a wick, but nonetheless, this is also showing you this wick here and then the push. And then the more like it's not it's a confident closure, but it's not like stupid confident, but it's confident enough. And then my stops can go break even. If you wanted to, you could go there. I would accept my risk past this one, and I would actually hold to these lows because this is my true draw. This is where you can truly have some form of reaction, right? See how this is this model right here, and then the rest is like external, where these lows are a little bit separated from these lows because this is current day's lows, right? And you can see that different phase in price when you impact those levels there. But yeah, and that's basically that trade. And moving on to the next. So taking a look here on the daily time frame, we can take notice of price is within that bearish stature. We are sorry, I'm skipping frames now, but it's fine. We'll just finish up this session. I would like to trade a continuation here if that Tuesday is setting the high of week, and I'd like to trade the continuation from the midpoint of the previous candle. So within the midpoint of the previous candle is going to be gaps in order for us to go down to the downside. I'm looking at the one that does go and feed a lot less into the midpoint is going to be considered more YM, and YM is showing me that there is possible reasons for us to go down lower, right? So from here, I just want to check out my daily profile and see what my daily profile does look like. We do not have a low of day, or we do have, that's your 1800 here, and we're trading from internal to external, and we can take notice that there is SMT in between the New York and Asia highs right now, as NQ is making a move up higher. And so with that being said, that is showing me that there is a possibility that NQ is a lot more stronger than YM. The low day is still not a tap to into anything, and this is a much more cleaner profile of that daily open high low close here on YM. So with the YM, that's going to be your structure, as you do have that V-shaped reversal. I'm assuming this to be considered my highest point of the day, and we do have this SMT. In order for this SMT to be considered valid, I would need to see NQ reverse price at 930 in order for us to want to go down lower. If I wanted to trade down lower, I'd more so be aiming at trading YM as that leading asset down to the downside. I personally you can enter here on YM now. There's the CISD at 930 reversing price here on NQ. I'm going to enter on YM as that leading asset to go and rip through these lows that's located here. I may be pulling it in just a little bit just because I want 2R to those lows. So I'm going to just limit fill the 2R. Oh, what's going on? Come on. Making sure that I didn't tap into any relevance yet. No, we haven't. So this would be the point of where you can anticipate that different phase in price. So we should be fine. Tapped in. Or just do a full reversal. Holy fuck. What the fuck happened there? That's unfortunate, bro. Not gonna lie there. All right. Well, I was trading that 15-minute C2 or 15-minute C3 and trading that 15-minute C4 to this level because that's the relevant level, unless it was swept. Nah, it wasn't swept. It just kind of went up higher. Okay, well, that might be it, bro. I'm not gonna lie. From there, that should have went. That's not unideal from there. Looks like price did want to go and sweep out one last time here on NQ. And this is setting a new 15-minute model. I'm just going to wait for the new 10 a.m. opening price and see if 10 a.m. does give us that open high-low close within this candle. So if we have a 15-minute C2, I'd more so look for a 10 a.m. open high-low close here. I need a 15-minute OB. Impacting a relevant level, we could anticipate a different phase in price here. This high is no longer protected, right? That high is no longer protected. And then now it's protected if we close through. Okay, this becomes a protected level. And then this would also be forming a new 15-minute swing. And you're trading that 15-minute C3. And that's also setting the high of, I wouldn't even say the 10. It is setting the high of the 10. It's an order like that. And then I would go stops to break even at this level here. Not that first level. Because I'm not anticipating that first level to mean anything. Oh, shit. I might exit, bro. Not gonna lie. Not the best reaction out of that level. Yeah. We're for sure getting stopped. I'm gonna exit early. As we did have a 15-minute CISD to the upside, and that's not ideal. So I'm just gonna take it off. My idea got invalidated as soon as these bodies closed over. That's not me anymore. If it wins, then it wins. If not, then fucking it just doesn't belong to me anymore. Right? Damn, that's unfortunate. That would be your stops to break even there. And you would have got stopped out of break even completely. I'm cool with taking like a 0.7 R loss. It just doesn't belong to me once I have that 15-minute CIC. It's like almost guaranteed to stop you out. And I'm cool with taking that off. Well, I believe that may be the last day. Because that's the 31st. Yeah, that's the 31st. And this would be considered the first. So that's pretty much that right there, right? That's the ending of that session. 12R or 11R on this month. Not a bad deal. I do like that. We do average around 7 to 12R per month, so that's not entirely bad. Doing good so far. Yeah, 7 to 12R per month is good. So one of the things I do like is tight ranges, no gaps, that I really did notice within this set was tight ranges, no gap equaled stop outs, right? So tight ranges, no gaps, choppy structure equals stop outs, and indecisive markets, right? So some of these losses was indecisive markets. Sorry, my computer's skipping frames right now, so I'm gonna end the stream. But we do have those tight ranges on some of them where that was causing those stop outs because it was an indecisive market, and that is where I am taking notice of. And also like longing and shorting after old highs or lows, those obviously that's things that we're working on. But a good 12R on this session, right, or on this month, very decent. I'm slowly getting better at filtering out my losses a little bit better and really like filtering these. I need to be able to build a system though where I can mechanically avoid certain trades, right? And yeah, that's just basically that. I'm gonna go and take a break though, and yeah, move on from there. But other than that, guys, I will, if you guys like this type of content, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And you guys want to know something funny is I don't know if I said it already, but I've been telling people to use code replay15 for 15% off of their FX Replay monthly subscription, and that's not even the code, bro. That is crazy, dog. But other than that, I will catch you guys in the next session. Peace.